Hey friends, I am so glad you're here. I don't know about where you are, but here in North Georgia, it feels amazing outside. So I am just getting all things ready for spring and all that's approaching because it just feels like it's the right thing to do. I can tell that even though the groundhog told us that there was going to be 6 more weeks of winter, I'm in shorts today and I was in shorts yesterday. And even though they said that it was supposed to rain all weekend long, it has rained some in the mornings and then the sun has come out and it's just been beautiful the rest of the day. So I am taking full advantage of this and we're going to be doing some camper prep, getting some systems in place so that life is a little bit more smooth when we're on the road. We're going to be starting some Ranunculus bulbs, which is what you just saw me soaking. They need to soak for 2 to 6 hours. 6 is like the max. I've never actually done these before. Last year I did some direct sow and our climate just got way too hot for them. I started them too late. So I am hoping, I don't think that this is really spring that we're entering into. I'm just taking the energy from it and having fun with it for now. But I'm hoping that I'm still starting these soon enough so that I can have some beautiful blooms, maybe around my birthday, mid-April. So I don't know, maybe May. I'm not really sure, but these are some of my favorite flowers. They're so beautiful. I'll put a picture here on the screen in case you have no clue what a ranunculus looks like. Sometimes whenever I tell people that those are my favorites, they're like, okay. And I can just tell they have no idea. But we do have some plans for a garden this year. It's going to be about the same size as ours was last year, but the variety of things that we're planting is going to look a good bit different. Over the last couple of years, we've been doing a lot of learning, a lot of trial by fire, trial by error, and now we're kind of at the point of knowing what grows the best, what we enjoy harvesting, what we use the most, and just what's fun. It's going to be much more limited on the types of things that we do, the variety, but much more focused, and I'm just really excited for what that will look like. So starting to kind of get my hands dirty with flowers, I'm really looking forward to in this video. And then of course having simple systems in our camper that kind of mimic the systems we have in our home. I'm excited to share those too. So we actually have our first camping trip coming up in a couple of weeks, which I will tell you more about as we get to that part. But one way that I have really been simplifying my mornings for a couple of years now is by doing protein smoothies. As I mentioned in my last video, I have been leaning much more heavily into protein packed meals. Even if they are on the go, I need them high in protein. So smoothies are my go-to for the morning, and I do have a favorite recipe which I've shared here before, I think in short form. I don't know that I've done it in long form, but I'm going to share that again today. And then I also have another one that I have discovered that I really enjoy, and then we're going to try out a third one which I've never done before. So I'll do a little taste test and we'll see how that goes. But I'm really glad that you're here. Let's get started. Okay, so we are going to keep this incredibly simple by making the base of all 3 recipes I'm about to show you the exact same. I use the vanilla protein powder from Aldi. So you'll do 1 scoop of vanilla protein powder, a 1/2 cup of milk, a 1/2 cup of Greek yogurt. I do vanilla Greek yogurt. And then 1 teaspoon of honey on top of all of these. You can also do maybe 2 teaspoons of honey, but that's your personal preference. The only thing that's really going to change in this is the true like big flavor item, your fruit, your accent, your punch. So I will have each of these recipes on the screen as we go so that you can kind of see those. I'll also have them down in the description in case you want to reference them later. But my very favorite, always automatic go-to, my daughter's favorite as well, is this first one. It's a strawberry vanilla protein smoothie, and it is so good. I do 1 cup of strawberries with the other items that I just mentioned. Love this. It never gets old to me. I usually eat a mozzarella cheese stick on my morning route of dropping the girls off at school, along with drinking my coffee, which has like cream and sugar in it. So that gets me going for the morning. And then I go to my workout class, and this protein smoothie is like my reward for the morning routine, the morning rush. I simply just try to make it to this protein smoothie, and then it's a great refuel, keeps me going for the rest of my day until I get to lunch, and it always hits the spot. Another one that I've recently tried is this creamsicle smoothie. It is so good. It is so good. It takes me back to vintage, like 90s childhood, all the nostalgia feels. And all that you have to do for this one to trade it out is the same initial ingredients, but then I froze some orange juice cubes in an ice cube tray, and I usually add 2 to 3, and then I also put like a splash of orange juice in it just to help fill out that orange flavor. And it's really simple. The orange juice cubes get a little bit slimy, so if you're not into like a texture thing, just a heads up. Otherwise, very simple, very straightforward. And then the last one is pineapple. So I went with roughly a cup of pineapple, and I just am loving getting to try out some different smoothies. It's getting me excited about spring and summer, but honestly, these are just great for year round. I've honestly tossed around the idea of starting like a little smoothie service for friends and family, just starting like a private group on Facebook. I don't necessarily want to get into all of the licensing and health code regulations that come with prepping food like this, but if I just did it for my close circle to really hone in on some recipes, I think that would be super fun in the meantime. This is the test. So it's not awful, but I do feel like all of the vanilla overpowers the pineapple. Like, I'm having a hard time even tasting the pineapple, which is interesting because this, I can see a yellow tint. I named it the Sunshine Smoothie. Whereas on my creamsicle, it totally looks white, even though there is orange juice and frozen orange juice cubes in it. So I'm really surprised. I added vanilla to this, as you saw. It was a tiny amount, but it's also vanilla Greek yogurt, vanilla protein powder. So I'm just wondering, one, if I've gotten so used to not putting vanilla in my smoothies and tasting more of the fruit itself, that now I'm like, I've put a little bit of vanilla in there and I'm like, where did my fruit go? Or two, if it's just because pineapple is like a softer fruit, like it blended so much easier than strawberries. I don't know. I'll have to keep playing with that one. None of the others were perfect the first time I did them either. The creamsicle was probably the easiest, but anyways, very glad to have some of these prepped. I'm going to save those. We'll still drink them. This week, me and my girls, well, both of my daughters were on winter break, but my oldest daughter only had half of the week out of school. My youngest had the whole week, so we took the first few days of this week and went on a little family adventure. Maybe I'll post some pictures up here on the screen, but we went to an indoor water park resort with my mom in Pigeon Forge called Wilderness at the Smokies. If you've ever been there, then you know it's just a blast, but we are still recovering. We've been home 2 days now, and I just feel like my body is still playing catch up, plus whatever this is that's blooming outside just has allergies going wild, and we've eaten convenient food all week, so it's just really nice to have these prepped and ready to grab from the fridge whenever we need them. Why did my husband not go on our trip, you ask? He has been out of town all week for work, for training, and is supposed to be coming home like any minute now. He's supposed to be leaving. They have a couple-hour drive to get here, but we are so excited to see him. And then he can taste test for me too and tell me what he thinks. I think he'll probably agree with me. It's not as good as the others, but I'll get it there. Now we're going to go ahead and move over to camper organization. I do have a shelf that I need him to cut down. It's like a wire shelf and help me put into one of our cabinets, but I definitely don't want to hit him with that as soon as he walks through the door. So maybe we'll get to that in this video. It may be tomorrow or something, but either way, let me just go show you what we got.
And these are small.
Brief overview. Clearly it is the off season, or it has been, but My main system improvements that I'm focusing on right now before our first camping trip in 2 weeks is clothes storage and like kitchen cabinet organization. I've gotten several baskets. This cabinet right back here is the one that I need Nicholas to put that wire shelf in that you see. He's gonna cut it down into 2 extra shelves, and then we'll put it in that cabinet because we don't, I mean, sometimes we do take things that need to be hung up, like we camp closer to home. We always try to leave the campsite in time Sunday morning to make it to church. So we do have some nicer clothes that we take to hang up with us, but we can just leave them hanging in the back of the car just as easily, because that's not a full-size closet. Obviously, like, it can't hang a dress from top to bottom. It's no different than hanging it in the back of the car. And we would get much more use out of that space if we could put baskets on shelves to store, I'm thinking, our clothes, but possibly like bed sheets, extra linens, that kind of thing. I'm not totally sure yet. Maybe towels. This has some stuff in it that won't stay in it, but I got these Dollar Tree baskets, and I think they'll fit well in that closet. So I got 2 of those. I also got these Dollar Tree baskets, which are, goodness. This shelf up here above our bed is so awkward because the ceiling like slants down. I have space for, I just yelled at you. I have space for about 2 more of these, but the Dollar Tree that I went back to this morning was out of them, and that's where I got these like several weeks ago, and I took all the ones I could find. I actually found one just sitting around randomly. So I didn't know how much room I would have. I have room for 5 though if I take those blankets down. So I'm not totally sure how I'm going to set that up or exactly what will even go in these. But they felt like a good idea. I just don't know. I need to chat GPT this, because that's what I did with this upper cabinet that we're going to be focusing on here in a minute. And then I also got some door pulls for our cabinets over the dining table, which I think will mostly be board game storage, hopefully sooner rather than later. But anyways, it also currently has like some crafts, movies, coloring books, all of that kind of stuff, which I want to figure out something different for. But let me show you very quickly my system for the girls' clothes. So I got this door hanger with over the door hanger, but I don't even know if you can, I don't think you can see the fullness of this. So it's got 6 bins, and it's also got side pockets. So right now I have Germex in there, and then each of the girls' brushes on the other side. In the past, how we've done this is they have just, because they're so small, still our girls are 3 and 5, they have kept their overnight bags, weekend bags at the foot of their bed, which is fine. It's working for now, but it's also kind of a hassle as they're trying to find things. They're like rummaging through their bags, and then we have just more bags laying around everywhere. So I'm just trying to eliminate the number of bags we have sitting around, because even though they're small, there's still 4 people working around in this tiny little camper. I definitely understand why people upgrade, like get larger campers so soon after getting into this world, but we are making what we have work by absolutely nailing down the systems and organization within this thing. So with that being said, I plan on them keeping their clothes in these bins, and they're pretty deep. I don't think that they'll need all of that, so my husband and I might end up putting some of our clothes in there too. Or we may use that cabinet where he's adding shelves to put our clothes there. So I'm not really sure where ours will end up yet, but all that I know is they're not going to be in our bags sitting around on the floor. Like I plan on packing the girls' clothes straight into here. Like they'll never even have a weekend bag for camping trips. And then I got one of those tall circular flex hampers to put over there in the corner, and we'll just throw all of our dirty clothes into one basket. Towels we will hang up to dry outside, and then I'll have a laundry bag to bag those up for the ride home. So that's kind of what we're working on. But right now I've been putting down the grip mats in all of our cabinets, and I still have some to do, but right now I'm focusing on this top cabinet and wanting to put all of our cooking utensils and dinnerware in there, which isn't a ton. Let's just go ahead and get started on that and see how far we get. I really like those handles. I was waiting to see if I like them before changing out the rest, but I also don't plan on painting these cabinets. I think the wood tone looks sweet with all of our white and floral. So, plus like certain accents all around the camper. There's my outdoor chair. But we still have like several wooden elements. So I think it's a nice balance, but now my hardware doesn't match and that kind of bugs me. So my remaining idea board, this wall right here, I want to do something to hold all the things. I have a wall mounted DVD player. The trick is that camper walls are like hollow. So we'll see about that. And then I did get, I don't know that I ever showed a final product of this. I need to get some small clear bins to go on the bottom. Not so much for like the bowls and pot with my measuring cups, but for the smaller things that are likely to roll around. And then I also think that I could probably condense it a bit better and add my items from this drawer. Just kind of like random things, and then put a cutlery tray in here to organize our silverware. So there's all that. I got the majority of what I wanted to get done today, and then Nicholas will help me with the shelf in time. Still need to, let me ask chat really quickly what it thinks about this over the bed shelf situation. It basically has some medicine type things, like maybe soaps and bug sprays, some snacks, clothes, shower things, which is actually a good idea because we have pretty much everything that's still in these cabinets over here beside.
How do it not opens?
You gotta pull hard. Whoa! Everything that's in those bottom cabinets looks like it's recommended to go up here, which I'm not opposed to. It's just figuring out how to travel with that and then set it up when we get there without adding too much to our setup routine, which is a good bit already. So that you can brush your teeth when we camp.
It's only for most.
No, y'all both have some. One other thing that I was going to show you, I did this very DIY trash can, and it's just a Dollar Tree basket on these little command hooks, and it comes off. We had been just hanging a trash bag on that command hook, and it was getting kicked around everywhere. This might do the same, but at least it's flexible. We can kind of push it in. So for now, that's what that is. I did cut the handles off so that it would hang there because the handle kept getting in the way of the counter. But, you know, camp life. You just do what works. And it was like $1.50 for that basket. There's the laundry basket that will go in the floor over here. Right now my husband's tool bag and our grill bag are right there, but I know it doesn't look like much right now, but just stay tuned because there's much to come. Alright, so a few days later, there have been some updates. First of all, Nicholas got home right before, it was like 30 minutes before time to go pick up our oldest daughter from kindergarten. So I truly did not mean to like put him straight to work as soon as he got here. But I had things that I wanted to get done, so he helped me put some ranunculus bulbs in to the ground. I was going to do containers or grow bags with those along the front of our house. It's going to be beautiful, but then I thought about the amount of potting soil that it was going to require to do that many bulbs. I had 20 or so. And I just said, we have raised beds. We'll go ahead and just use what we have. I will plant spinach and lettuce very soon. I'll sow the seeds for those right there in the same bed as the ranunculus. My ranunculus only ended up taking about half of the bed. So just using what we have. And I was really hoping that they would make some beautiful landscaping for us, but we just don't have great soil around our yard, and I really want these to do well. So we're gonna see how they turn out in our beds. I'll keep you posted on that. He did also install the cabinet shelves for me. It took some figuring out because I thought that the side of that cabinet was real wood. It was not. It was like particle board or veneer or whatever you want to call it, but he had to add some things and he's just so good. I always know that he will figure it out, so I don't even like stress. He stresses and gets frustrated, but I just have such confidence in him because every time he figures out a way, and I'm just so grateful. So now we have those ready. And I also found some small clear bins to put my things in the cabinet in, and then I got my cutlery drawer organized. I think all of the cabinet to the right side of our kitchen area is going to be food storage. So I don't really have a great system figured out for that yet, but I'm just kind of going to see how our first trip goes. I have a couple of things in there, like storage wise, that we just had already around the house. So we're going to see how that ends up working for us and what we need to do moving forward. Lastly, I also made a very impromptu, spontaneous decision to add a peel and stick backsplash. So one thing that I have learned since getting our camper is that the pretties are not at all a factor that comes to my mind whenever we're actually camping. Like whenever we're out in nature and just enjoying making family memories and doing the things together, like moving from one meal to the next and playing board games and cleanup and those kinds of things, like exploring, I'm not worried about what these countertops look like. Whenever I first got this camper, I did paint it white, but I also thought, oh, I'll paint the cabinets a whole different color. I'll change the countertop. I'll put something different on top of it or paint it. But then I just tried to take it slowly, and after our first couple of camping trips, really after the first one, I realized none of that matters. Absolutely none of that matters whenever we're actually camping. So I had had plans for a long time of doing some kind of a little backsplash, but really didn't like plan for it. It was just something where I was like, you know what? I just want to give it a go. I want to do something creative and fun this weekend. And so I woke up very early before the rest of my house was awake on a Saturday morning and just made my coffee and came out here and spent a couple of hours figuring it out. And it was a very small space, but it still took all of the day, like with some breaks in between. But I really do like it. I think it'll be better for like wiping down splatters from the kitchen from cooking and things like that. So very excited about that. I've just polyurethaned it this morning, and I'll probably need another coat or two. I know I started out this video saying that it was so warm and I was in shorts, and here I am in like a full-on sweater because it was literally snowing a couple of days ago. I mean, we went from like 85 degrees, beautiful, amazing weather, to snow, and that's just how Georgia is. So it was 23 degrees the morning it was snowing. It is thankfully back up to the 50s now, but it's really raining today, like all last night and today it's been raining. So it's not the best conditions for trying to polyurethane this, and it's also kind of like the peel and stick is kind of peeling rather than sticking already, just I think due to weather conditions. But that's the nature of a camper, right? Like it needs to be able to withstand some of the elements. So I am planning on coming back and going over it with more coats of polyurethane once this one dries. It's just taking a while because there's so much moisture in the air right now. But even though it does not feel like spring outside anymore right now, I do feel like we have gotten ourselves a great spring reset. We have just really prepped some things for nourishment, for growth, for organization, and it feels really, really good. I'm so excited about our next video because it will be us going on our first camping trip of the year. This will be the furthest camping trip that we've ever been on before. It will be about a 4.5 hour drive from our house. So very much looking forward to that. There's a lot to do in the area, like outdoor wise, and I'm just really excited. I'm gonna try to film parts of that, but obviously not let it interfere with our family time and the precious memories that we'll be making. So I do plan to share with you next week a couple more little organization things that I've kind of honed in on that I think will be great to just finalize the space before our first trip of the year. I obviously have way more ideas in mind, mostly for like the bathroom and the food storage and my daughter's bunk areas, those kinds of things. But for right now, I'm just primarily trying to figure out the systems for the main living space. So that's been so nice. I know that part of it was a little bit scattered, but thank you for sticking with me. If you are a camper family, I would love to hear from you down in the comments. Let me know if you have systems like this that work best for your family, or if you have implemented some, especially if you have a really small camper like this, but really any kind of like mobile living situation. I would love to know all of your hacks. I'm constantly saving things to my Pinterest board and just tucking away ideas just to see what works, because something that works for me might not work for somebody else and vice versa. So I'm just trying to just think through everything all the time until we get it nailed down in a way that makes it most practical, most fun for our family. I do feel like so much of this season looks like carrying our cottage rhythms to the camper and figuring out how that works. So I have really enjoyed this. It's gotten me so much more excited to just continue with it, and I cannot wait to share more. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great day wherever you are, and I'll catch you next time. Bye guys.